everyone. So in this video we are going to start surface chemistry. Surface chemistry. So in this surface chemistry we mainly discuss adsorption, catalysis, colloids, emulsions. So these are the four concepts we are going to discuss in surface chemistry. Yes, so first of all, what is surface chemistry? Surface chemistry is nothing but the branch of chemistry which deals about the processes takes place on the surface of the substance. Surface means what? You take any solid substance. So you consider this is a solid substance. So on the surface means, so suppose this is 100 nanometers depth from top. So this 100 nanometers depth from top of the any solid sphere, that is what we consider as what? Surface. So surface is nothing but the space which is 100 nanometers from the surface of the substance. That space we consider as what? Surface. Okay, so in that, what is adsorption? Adsorption. And what about absorption? Absorption. What is the difference between them? Adsorption and absorption is a surface phenomenon. It is a surface phenomenon. It means this is taking place only at the surface of the body. Whereas absorption is what? Bulk phenomenon. Bulk. Okay, not only at the surface. Through the total bulk of the substance, this phenomena takes place. That is why we are calling this as a bulk phenomena. So it is a bulk phenomena. Next one, adsorption. How you define adsorption? Adsorption is nothing but the phenomena of accumulation or retaining the molecules on the surface of the body. Okay, so that phenomenon we called as what? Adsorption. The phenomenon of accumulation and retaining of molecules on the surface of body is called what? Adsorption. So that means you take, this is a solid substance and these are the molecules which are adsorbed on the surface. So this is what? Adsorption. Whereas absorption, it is a bulk phenomenon. Not only they are accumulating, they are penetrating through the substance. Okay, they are penetrating through the body, and there was a uniform distribution of molecules. Okay, best example for absorption is sponge in water. Sponge in water, or else a piece of chalk piece in ink. Dip of chalk piece in ink. After that, if you break it, it's a bulk phenomenon. Next one, in case of adsorption, surface phenomena, this is taking place only at the surface of the body. And one more thing, the adsorption is taking place because of difference in what? Because of difference in their what? Intramolecular interactions or van der Waals interactions. So when you compare the particles which are at the surface and the particle which is at the body, the bulk, what is the difference between them? The molecules which are present at the surface, they have only inward forces. Whereas in the bulk, so it is getting the uniform interactions from all 360 degrees. So what is the difference between surface molecule and bulk molecule? There was a difference in what? Intramolecular interactions or van der Waals interactions. Because of this van der Waals forces, adsorption is different and absorption is different. Okay, so adsorption is due to difference in van der Waals interactions or intermolecular interactions. Okay, and coming to the next one, we should know some terms in this short term. So what is adsorbate and adsorbent? So in case of adsorption, the molecules, see sir, here these are the molecules which are accumulated on the surface of this body. Okay, the molecules which are adsorbed on the surface of other, okay, those molecules we call it as what? Adsorbate. Adsorbate is nothing but the substances whose molecules which are accumulated on the surface of the body. That substance we call it as what? Adsorbate. The adsorbate can be gas, liquid or solid. Gas, liquid or any three physical state, the adsorbate can be exist. Coming to the adsorbent, what is adsorbent? Now you define how it is adsorbent. It is adsorbent. Adsorbent is nothing but the surface on which adsorbate molecules have been adsorbed. So that surface we call it as what? Adsorbent. The adsorbent can be liquid or solid. It cannot be gas. Okay, so this is about the adsorbate, adsorbent. Clear? Next one, absorption. Absorption. What is absorption? It is nothing but if the both process, both adsorption and absorption, both phenomena simultaneously takes place. So both adsorption and absorption simultaneously takes place, then that phenomenon we call it as what? Absorption. Simple. Both are taking place simultaneously, then that is called what? Absorption. Next one, desorption. Yes, what is a desorption? Desorption is nothing but, as you know, the phenomenon of accumulation of the molecules on the surface of the body we call it as adsorption. The phenomenon of removing the molecules from the surface we call it as what? Desorption. So this is what? Removal of adsorbate molecules from adsorbent. Okay, this process we call it as what? Desorption. Understood? So absorption, desorption. Next one, adsorption. If you take adsorptions are of two types. Okay, two types. Positive adsorption, negative adsorption. Positive adsorption, and the second one is negative adsorption. Yes, what is a positive adsorption and what is a negative adsorption? Positive adsorption is nothing but, suppose if the concentration of the substance is more at surface than bulk. So you just take, so this is substance and this is its surface. Okay, if the molecule's concentration is more at surface than bulk, concentration of the molecules is more at surface than bulk. So surface concentration is more than bulk concentration. Okay, then that is called what? Positive adsorption. Negative adsorption is nothing but if the surface concentration is lesser than bulk concentration, then that is called negative adsorption. Simple also. Why? Because adsorption is a surface phenomenon. You should compare the concentration at the surface to the bulk. If surface concentration is more than bulk concentration, that is a positive adsorption. If the surface concentration is lesser than bulk concentration, then that is called negative adsorption. Okay, so this is about the terms you should be aware of. Right. Next, let us move to the thermodynamics related to this. thermodynamics related to the surface chemistry. Well, that means while the adsorption is going on, what are the changes takes place? Let us see. So as we know, while the molecules are getting adsorbed on the surface, okay, what happened? The surface energy decrease. The surface energy decrease. So while adsorption takes place, the surface molecules decrease their surface energy in the form of heat. That means what? They are exothermic. That is exothermic. Understood? Adsorption phenomena is exothermic or endothermic? Exothermic, no doubt. So delta H was negative. That is the first condition. Thermodynamics. Understood? While the adsorbate molecules getting accumulated on the surface of adsorbent, the surface molecules are losing their energy, that is surface energy, in the form of what? Heat. So losing energy in the form of heat means they are liberating heat energy. That means they are exothermic. So adsorption is what? Exothermic phenomena. Next, after the adsorbate molecules getting accumulated on the surface of adsorbent, what happened? The randomness of the molecules decreased. Why? Because before getting adsorbed, they are free, they can move to anywhere. But after getting adsorbed, what happened? They are fixed at the surface. So the randomness decreased. So entropy, what happened? Decrease. Okay. So the delta S value is also negative. Del S value is also negative due to decrease in randomness after adsorbates accumulated on surface. So two terms have been fixed, del H value and del S value. Next, is this adsorption phenomena is a spontaneous phenomena and non-spontaneous? Spontaneous. Thermodynamically it was proved. So it is a spontaneous phenomena. For spontaneous phenomena, del G value should be negative. Okay, so adsorption is a spontaneous phenomena. So for all spontaneous phenomena, del G value was negative. But we know the relation. Del G is equal to del H minus T delta S. So del G value was negative, it was fixed. Del H value is also negative, it is also given. And the delta S value negative, but minus T delta S value positive. So since minus T delta S value was positive. So that is why the first term is negative, but the second term is what? Positive. Now tell me, in which case, at which case the del G value becomes negative? Only it is possible when the del H value is more negative than T delta S value. When the negative value is dominating, then positive value, then only this adsorption phenomena was spontaneous phenomena. Okay. Suppose if you increase the temperature, just imagine that is possible only at low temperatures. If you increase the temperature, what happened? Tell me. If the temperature was increased, then this positive term value will be increased. At a particular temperature, the del positive value is equal to negative value. The del G value becomes 0. That will reaches to what? Equilibrium state. If we further increase the temperature, it becomes non-spontaneous. That is why by increasing the temperature, first they come into the state of equilibrium. Thereafter, it becomes what? Non-spontaneous. So this is about the thermodynamics related to adsorption. Next, let us move to the types of adsorption. Types of adsorption. So based upon the interactions, so this is the types. There was two types are there. These two types are based on what? Based on interactions between adsorbate and adsorbent. Between adsorbate and adsorbent, what kind of interactions. Based upon that interactions, we are classifying the adsorptions into two types. What are those? The first one is physical adsorption. So also we call it as physisorption. Physical adsorption also we call it as what? Physisorption. The second one is chemical adsorption. Also we call it as chemisorption. Physisorption and chemisorption. Let us discuss the differences between these two. Physisorption is nothing but between the adsorbate and the adsorbent there was a weak van der Waals forces exist. So which forces are existing? Weak van der Waals forces exist between adsorbate and adsorbent. So that adsorption we call it as what? Physical adsorption. Whereas in chemisorption there was a strong chemical forces existing between the adsorbate and adsorbent, so called chemical adsorption, also called chemisorption. And because of weak van der Waals forces, what happened? The enthalpy change, the LH value was negative, no doubt, but the enthalpy of here is less. Its del H value was low. It is in between what is that, 20 to 40 kJ per mole, very less, 20 to 40, it's very less only. But in case of chemisorption there is a strong chemical interactions between the adsorbate and adsorbent, so the enthalpy for this del H value is high, no doubt. Comparatively the chemisorption del H value is very high and it is in the range of 80 to 240 kJ per mole. So that is the del H value. And next one, physisorption. If you take the physisorption, it is a reversible process. It is a reversible and a rapid process. Fastly it will take place, physisorption. Whereas chemisorption is irreversible and very slow process. Chemisorption is an irreversible and slow process. Next one, physisorption. So usually low temperatures are favorable. So what is the favorable temperature for the physisorption? Low temperatures. Whereas for chemisorption, high temperatures are favorable. So what is the favorable temperatures for the chemisorption? High temperatures. So because of low temperatures are favorable, for example, if you increase the temperature, what happens in the physisorption? Decreases. So physisorption is inversely proportional to temperature. Whereas chemisorption, it is a high temperatures are favorable, so by increasing the temperature, chemisorption also will increase. So chemisorption is directly proportional to temperature. Next one, the physisorption. It is what? It is not highly specific. It is not highly specific. Okay, but whereas chemisorption is highly specific. It is highly specific in nature. Next one, the physisorption is directly proportional to pressure. Physisorption, suppose if you increase the pressure of the adsorbate gases, pressure increases, automatically the physisorption also will increases. But chemisorption, in case of chemisorption, the significance of pressure is less. There was no much significance of pressure on chemisorption, not physisorption, only on chemisorption. Next one, the physisorption, it depends upon nature of adsorbate. It depends upon nature of adsorbate only. Whereas chemisorption, it is not only depends on nature of adsorbate, it is not only depends upon adsorbate and also depends upon adsorbent also. It depends upon both adsorbate and as well as adsorbent. Okay, clear? And the most important, physisorption is multi-layered. It is multi-layered. Many layers are forming on the surface, not single layer. Whereas chemisorption is unilayered. Chemisorption is unilayered, whereas physisorption is multi-layered. And ease of desorption. So of course many layers are there, but the interaction between adsorbent and adsorbent is lesser. That is why, so the ease of desorption Desorption is easy. We can easily separate the adsorbate from the adsorbent. But here the desorption is strong, tough. Okay, so this is about the differences between physisorption and chemisorption. Best example for the physisorption is accumulation or adsorption of hydrogen on the surface of charcoal, and chemisorption is adsorption of the same hydrogen on the surface of nickel. So this is about the physisorption and chemisorption. Next, move to the factors which are influencing the adsorption. Factors affecting adsorption. Okay, so the first factor. What are the factors on which adsorption phenomena depends? The first one is nature of adsorbate. Nature of adsorbate. And the second one, nature of adsorbent. Nature of adsorbent. Third one, effect of pressure. Effect of pressure. And the fourth one, effect of temperature. So these are the main four factors on which the adsorption phenomena depends. Clear? The nature of adsorbent means here you can say surface area. Surface area of adsorbent. Surface area. Okay, let us see. The first one is the nature of adsorbate. How the adsorbate, on nature of adsorbate, how the adsorption depends. Let us see. Just compare the two gases. I am comparing here ammonia gas and hydrogen gas. When you compare the ammonia gas and hydrogen gas, the critical temperature of ammonia is greater than critical temperature of hydrogen. Critical temperature is nothing but what? The minimum temperature at which a gas can liquefy. So critical temperature of ammonia, it's around what? It will be around 15 degrees, 16 degrees, around nearly. Hydrogen is minus degrees. So it is somewhat nearer to the room temperature. So we can easily liquefy. So because of high critical temperature, ammonia is easily liquefied. So we can easily liquefy the ammonia compared to hydrogen. So the gases which can easily be liquefied can accumulate more than others. So simply say that adsorption of gases, adsorption is directly proportional to ease of liquefaction. Simply ease of liquefaction. That means the gas which can easily be liquefied, that gas can be adsorbed more than others. And this ease of liquefaction is directly proportional to critical temperature. Simply. So sometimes what happens, they may give you A, B, C, D, and their critical temperatures they may give you in brackets. So the gas whose critical temperature is higher can be adsorbed more than others. So like this, the nature of adsorbate affects the adsorption. Next one, surface area of adsorbent. Surface area of adsorbent. You just come see, there was two substances. Okay, this is the surface area. Tell me, when you compare these two, which is having larger surface area, this is having larger surface area. Because of having the larger surface area, more number of adsorbate molecules can accumulate. So more adsorption. So simply say that adsorption is directly proportional to what? Surface area of adsorbent. So this is the second factor. Effect of pressure. Effect of pressure. As we already discussed, if you take the physisorption, Physics absorption is directly proportional to the pressure at constant temperature. At constant temperature, physics absorption is directly proportional, but chemisorption is independent. It is not depending on external pressure. There was no much significant effect of pressure on chemisorption. See, to explain this effect of pressure on physisorption, so we are using two isotherms, Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Freundlich adsorption isotherm. The second one is what? Langmuir adsorption isotherm. Let us discuss these two adsorption isotherms. According to the Freundlich adsorption isotherm, they consider X is amount of substance deposited, M is mass of adsorbent. Okay, so according to Freundlich adsorption isotherm, X by M means amount of gas or amount of the substance deposited per unit mass of the adsorbent. X by M is directly proportional to P to the power of 1 by N. P to the power of 1 by N is directly proportional to the pressure. And if you wanted to remove this proportionality constant, X by M is equal to K into P to the power of 1 by N. X by M is equal to K into P to the power of 1 by N, where 1 by N value. Usually the range, the 1 by N value is in the range between 0 to 1. 1 by N value is in between 0 to 1, but most probably the probable range is 0.1 to 0.5. Okay, usually it is in between 0 to 1, but most probably what is the range of this 1 by N value? 0.1 to 0.5. Okay, now what I am doing, when you apply the log on both sides, what you will get? Log of X by M is equal to 1 by N log of P plus log of K. So it is in the form of Y is equal to mx plus C. So Y is equal to, that means when you draw the graph between log of X by M and log of P, what is the slope? Slope is 1 by N and its intercept value is log K. So we will get the graph like this, and whose slope value is equal to 1 by N and intercept value is log K. This is one graph. And when you draw the graph to the X by M to the pressure, X by M to the pressure, this is what isotherms. Isotherms are nothing but what? The graphs which are drawing at a constant temperature. So if you draw the graph between X by M versus pressure at a temperature T, we are getting like this. This is at the temperature T. That means at a particular up to here only X by M value is directly proportional to pressure, but after at a high pressure conditions, what happened? They are coming into the saturation state. Saturation means equilibrium. Okay, equilibrium. That means all the total surfaces are accumulated by the molecules. So there was no chance to accumulate any more molecules on the surface, even if you increase the pressure also. That is why up to this point, what happened? They come into the state of saturation. So their effect of pressure on X by M is nil. There was no effect. That is why Freundlich adsorption isotherm, this is very, very important. This is applicable only at low pressure conditions only. It is a failed in the case of high pressure conditions. Okay, only at low pressure conditions X by M value is directly proportional to P to the power of 1 by M. And one more thing, sometimes what happens, they may ask you, they may give you the graph like this. T1, T2, T3, and arrange the T1, T3, T3, T2 in a decreasing order, increasing order. I told you that this is what graphs for physisorption. Why? Because there was no effect of pressure on chemisorption. For physisorption, there is effect of temperature on physisorption. Usually for physisorption, low temperatures are favorable. If you increase the temperature, what happens in the physisorption? Decreases. That means T1 is at low temperature. When you increase the temperature from T1 to T3, it decreases. T3 to T2 decreases further. So what is the increasing order and decreasing order? That is T1 lesser than T3 lesser than T2. Very important graph. No? Just remember these three graphs in case of Freundlich adsorption, etc. Clear? So for example, if you wanted to check, let us say, suppose at a very low pressure conditions, at low pressure conditions, what happen? 1 by n value is equal to 1. At low pressure conditions, 1 by n value is equal to 1. If 1 by n value is equal to 1, then x by m is equal to k into p to the power of 1. That means x by m value is directly proportional to pressure. That is why at low pressure conditions it is directly proportional. At a very low pressure, at low pressure conditions, don't write a very low. At low pressure conditions, 1 by n value is equal to 1. If 1 by n value is equal to 1, x by m value is directly proportional to p. Suppose at high pressure conditions, what happens? So at high pressure conditions, 1 by n value nearer to 0. If 1 by n value nearer to 0, anything to the power of 0 is equal to what? 0. Sorry, 1. Anything to the power of a over 0 is equal to 1. That means x by m is independent on pressure. That is why it is coming to the saturation. Even if you increase very high pressures, the x by m value remains same. So like that, based upon these results, we have drawn the graphs for this. Okay, so these are the graphs we drawn based upon the theoretical explanation. Yes, to explain this, why the physisorption is failed in the case of high pressure conditions. To explain that, next isotherm is what? Langmuir came. Langmuir adsorption isotherm. Langmuir adsorption isotherm. And according to the Langmuir, what he said, after a certain pressure, okay, up to certain pressure, x by m value directly proportional to pressure, but after certain pressure, what happens? They come into the state of saturation. Now, at saturation is what? I told you already, they are coming into the state of equilibrium. Now, at equilibria, what he said, rate of evaporation is equal to rate of condensation. Again, you may get that out. What is this evaporation? What is this condensation? It is nothing but according to Langmuir, what he considered. So this is what one surface of the body. Just imagine. On the surface of the body, he said that there were certain points. So that points he considered as what? Adsorption sites. So what he called these points? Adsorption sites. There only the molecules will accumulate. The molecules will accumulate only at the adsorption site. So like this, what happened? The molecule here, like this, what happened? The molecules are accumulated on the surface of body at adsorption sites, and they forms which layer? Unilayer or multilayer? Unilayer, no doubt. Okay, and one more thing, the rate of evaporation. What is the evaporation? So after the molecules gets accumulated, what happens? That accumulated molecules may again will dissociate. Okay, and that with what speed they are dissociating, called rate of evaporation. And in the same place, some molecules are trying to condense back and again will accumulate on the remaining vacant spaces. That is what we call as rate of condensation. And he said that according to Langmuir, the rate of evaporation is directly proportional to, so when the rate of evaporation will be more, it is directly proportional to the fraction of area that was covered. Okay, so it is directly proportional to what? Covered area. What do you mean by the covered area? That means the area that was covered with adsorbate molecules. So it's directly proportional to covered area. That is what rate of evaporation. Rate of evaporation is equal to Kd. Kd means dissociation constant, and a covered area they consider as what? Theta. So rate of evaporation is equal to Kd theta. That you consider. Next, rate of condensation. Rate of condensation. So rate of condensation depends on two factors. One is pressure. If there was a more pressure, more condensation, more number of molecules gets accumulated, and also directly proportional to uncovered area. Okay, the area that was uncovered is more condensation. Clear? The rate of condensation depends on two factors. One is the pressure, and another one is uncovered area. So that is the rate of condensation is equal to K, association constant, and P, and uncovered area is 1 minus theta. Why? Because theta is a covered area. So the total area is 1 if we consider. If the theta is a covered area, remaining will be 1 minus theta. So this is the equation number 2. That is the equation number 1. Now at equilibrium, rate of evaporation is equal to rate of condensation. So you can write it as Kd theta. Kd theta is equal to Ka P into 1 minus theta. So from that, what do? You divide these two terms with Kd. So if you divide this Kd theta with Kd cancel. So theta is equal to Ka by Kd into P into 1 minus theta. And now what I am doing, I am considering the ratio between Ka to Kd, association constant divided by dissociation constant, I am considering as a constant. So because they both are constants, the ratio between any two constant is a new constant. So I am considering this is what? Constant B. Okay, so if you consider, then theta is equal to Bp into 1 minus theta. So that you can write as theta is equal to Bp minus Bp theta. Now you bring minus Bp theta to that side, and theta you can take it as a common. The remaining is 1 plus Bp is equal to Bp. So theta is equal to Bp by 1 plus Bp. So what is theta? Covered fraction. So as we know, the absorption is directly proportional to covered fraction. If there was a more covered, more absorption. So absorption is nothing but x by m. X by m is directly proportional to constant, is proportional to theta, that is equal to k into theta, you can write it as. Now what is the theta? X by m is equal to k into Bp by 1 plus Bp. Now here again, k is a constant, b is one more constant. Instead of using two constants, in the place of both I am using a new constant, that is a. So finally, x by m is equal to ap by 1 plus bp. Simple. How you define, how you remember this formula? X by m. ap means up. Up 1 bar. Simple also. Up 1 bar. So x by m is equal to ap by 1 plus bp. So this is a Langmuir adsorption isotherm. Let us apply this Langmuir adsorption. Now to explain these graphs, we are using this Langmuir. Let us see. So suppose you consider low pressure conditions if you do at low pressures. If pressures are low, then bp will be. So at low pressures, bp is negligible compared to 1. Low pressure, Bp value is less compared to 1, so we can neglect Bp. If you neglect the Bp from the denominator, then x by m is equal to ap by 1 ap. That means x by m is directly proportional to p. So at low pressure conditions, x by m is directly proportional to pressure. Clear? Now at high pressure conditions, let us consider at high pressure conditions. If pressures are more, then Bp is more dominating than 1. Now you can neglect 1 from the denominator. If you neglect the 1 from the denominator, then x by m is equal to ap by bp. Bp cancel. From that, x by m is independent on pressure. So it's nothing but saturation. So he explained this graph based upon his explanation. So this is about Langmuir adsorption isotherms. Okay. Here 2 points. So based upon the previous knowledge, they may ask you the questions related to the number of molecules, number of adsorbate molecules getting adsorbed on the surface of adsorbent, they may ask you, or the total surface area of adsorbent that was covered or uncovered by the adsorbate molecules. Anything may ask you. So let us see. Suppose if V volume of gas getting absorbed at pressure P and a temperature T. Let us consider how much volume, V volume of the gas getting absorbed at pressure P and a temperature T. Then number of molecules adsorbed is equal to, formula is what now? That is nothing but as we know, PV is equal to nRT, where n is equal to what? Number of moles. Then number of moles is equal to PV by RT. Number of molecules is equal to Avogadro number. Same. So it is equal to pressure into volume by RT into Avogadro number. So by using this formula, you can calculate number of molecules getting adsorbed on the surface of adsorbent. And one more formula, the total surface area covered. Okay, as we know, the surface covered is equal to number of molecules into its area of cross section. Once we get the number of molecules adsorbed, you just multiply with the area of cross section. That is equal to number of molecules formula, that is PV by RT into Avogadro number. This is what number of molecules into area of cross section formula pi r square. So by using this formula, you can calculate what? Total surface area of adsorbent that was covered with adsorbate. Okay, so these are the frequent model of questions asking from this adsorption concept. On adsorption, that is what? Effect of temperature on adsorption. As I already discussed, physisorption is inversely proportional to temperature, whereas chemisorption is directly proportional to the temperature up to a certain level, thereafter further decreases. So that we can easily identify by drawing the graph between x by m versus temperature. Okay, x by m versus temperature. When you draw, what happened? By increasing the temperature, it will decrease like this. So this is a physisorption. Why? Because physisorption favored by low temperatures. If you increase the temperature further, it will decreases. Whereas chemisorption, if you draw the graph, okay, when we draw the graph between x by m versus temperature, first it will increases, reaches maximum, again it will decreases. Okay, you may get the doubt, why first it increases, reaches maximum, thereafter decreases. Okay, don't think that x by m value always directly proportional to temperature, it's wrong. First it will increase up to a certain level, thereafter decreases. Here the reason, what is the reason here? So when you increase the temperature, that initial increase in the temperature helps to increase the activation energy. Activation energy is nothing but what? Minimum energy required to do the reaction. So that initial increase in the temperature from here to here, whatever the temperature that we increase, that initial increase in the temperature helps to raise the activation energy. The activation energy is raised, then more number of molecules gets adsorbed. But after a certain point, maximum surface area have been occupied. There was no surface to occupy further. So on further increase in the temperature, means after increase in the temperature, after initial increasing, thereafter on further increase in the temperature, that increase in temperature helps to break the bond between the adsorbate and adsorbent molecules. So once the bond was break, then what happened? The adsorbate molecules are escaping from the surface. This adsorption decreases. So understood. So you just write the hint here. The initial increase in temperature helps to increase the activation energy. So more adsorption. So therefore more adsorption. Whereas after it reaches the maximum, okay, on further increase in temperature, okay, that is further increase in the temperature helps to break the interactions between adsorbate and adsorbent, so that adsorbate molecules will escape from the surface if this adsorption decreases.